Ooh, so yeah, it's been a minute. Fuck yeah, keep learning new things about this whole setup for recording. Trying to up the production value, but yeah, fucking finally I figured out how to do like an in picture thing and play media and fucking display capture, so I can show like clips of videos or fucking posts and shit like that. So I can just do it all from here, from one spot. My one man band thing, you know, and it's one thing. So I had it. Yeah, let me bitch for a second here. I had it so that figured out how to. Hold on, so I can throw it up. Let's see here. Like, por ejemplo, I'm gonna change this. Yeah, I guess so. If you're only listening, it doesn't matter. It's not doing anything for you. You don't get the value. But here we go. So now I can throw up. So I guess, yeah, I don't think I've run into problems in my test runs of looking at, like, so I can, oh shit, pop up this. So right now I'm looking at I think it's the like front page of what's his name, King Luduk, Dave Luduk, the Letway champion, the king of Letway. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But anyways, what I was bitching about is, so then like I also got it so that I can throw up videos, y'all. So like, watch, boom, there's me in the little corner here. I'll play the video. But when I was doing my tests and the playbacks, it's fucking like what do you call it? It's the like stutter steps. So maybe I don't know if it's my connections or the processing power of the computer. Because the issue that I was having before too is like, I got the video to play, but I couldn't figure out how to, like, the audio wasn't capturing. Finally figured that out using VB or virtual audio cables to be it, which is a cool thing to know for me to know now. So I can basically, any source that's, putting out there's sound coming out of it, I can link it with a virtual cable. So for example, like for in this here, like the display capture, it'll play the video but it doesn't capture the audio, but I can set the output audio to be a virtual cable and then select inside of, I'm using OBS Studio, inside of OBS Studio, select the audio output capture to be that virtual cable. So it's basically, so it's kind of like saying, so I'll say for like whatever my media players, I'll say, oh, the speakers are identified as virtual cable A. So then in OBS Studio, I'll say, oh, the audio capture, the speakers are going to be, the sound to capture from is going to be virtual cable A or whatever. So fucking figured all that out. And then when I did my test runs, for some reason, the fucking video, maybe it's the player. So I got to play around with it more. But it's been like, so trying to do these upgrades and shit because I wanted, like, trying to do better quality. But it's just delaying production. The show must go on, as they say, break a leg. Look at that transition right into. So I went to UFC 261, and like I said, it was like 2 weeks ago already. But I wish I had. Let me switch this fucking view back to, which is the least intrusive way of looking at me. All right, so I got this view. Let me change that view. There's another view right here. Close up view. But yeah. From the UFC 261, Florida. Floridaman was out strong. Florida woman was out strong as well. I took a bunch of videos. I took a bunch of videos and stuff because I was trying to do like more of a, like a vlog, like edit it and all that shit together and be like, my trip road to UFC 261. So I gotta put that together still. I don't know. I feel weird. So there's a couple things. So this was my first like, not the first time I've gone outside since lockdown and all that shit, but it's like the first. It's the first trip for sure the first trip I've gone on, and since lockdown started like March of 2019 or yeah, so like the actual lockdown started like February March of 2020. Uh, but I'm trying to think, did I? So either way, it's been over a year since I've been like on a trip. Like I've traveled farther than like for you know what I mean, like for a like going into the office or whatever. So it was interesting for a lot of reasons. So I felt awkward. I get. Well, I don't know. I feel weird. I don't know. It just feels fucking vain to be videotaping everything. Like doing this in like a private setting. Like I still get nervous. Like sometimes. But half the reason I put up soundproofing stuff is like I'm worried. Like, what if somebody out here hears me talking? Like they hear my voice. You know. So I'm fucking just. Is vain the word? Maybe vain, but shy or something like that. So and I don't already when I'm in public, I don't like drawing attention to myself. I think, or I'm just aware of it. So I already feel weird, like if I was like running around with a selfie stick or whatever. Uh, Maybe I got to get over it. I don't know, but either way, so I didn't end up videotaping a lot of stuff, and even in the actual event when we got inside, I took a couple videos, but I felt there's a yeah, I felt I don't know. I felt weird. Like I don't know. It feels thirsty. I guess because it's like because I know that I'm taking the videos to show them later, but also it's kind of the part of the point. It's like I talk about this shit all the time. So, but anyways, yeah, it felt weird. So, damn, there's so many elements to this, and I kind of wish I had recorded my thoughts or feelings, like my experience earlier, because I was hyped up when I came back. It was exciting. Um, I'm so excited about it, but I don't know. It was just like that fresh, that fresh fucking energy coming out of it. But so let's see here. Oh yeah. So this is one of the things. So I guess I'm not gonna do this linear at all. I'm gonna fucking just talk in circles because it's also been a couple weeks since I've done any recording, so I'm fucking out of practice. Same old story, same old excuses. Uh, so inside, fuck yeah. Maybe I should talk in order, or I'll forget. Anyway, so yeah, we drive down. Let's try this. So we drive down. Not a bad drive. Me, my buddy Tim, and it went down. Oh, and because my little brother lives down there. So, and I originally before I got the tickets, I told him, asked him if he'd be interested in going. It's a good excuse for me because I was gonna go anyways, but it was cool to be able to take him. So we drive down there. We get an Airbnb, which is like fucking so ideal compared to like hotels. Because also originally I was thinking about I was gonna fly down there. And then in the episode that I did with Tim, I think Hoogkin Salon Ep.7, Tim from A Helping Hand for Vets, go check him out. And anyway, so he when I asked him, I was like, yeah, when we're doing a little talk, and then I was like, oh hey shit man, you want to go? And he said yeah. So then he was like yeah, because I guess originally he was saying he was gonna be down in that area anyways. But anyways, long story short, he was gonna drive down. He said, and he would tow his jet skis. So I drove down to his lake house. We met there. He's having truck problems, so we hooked up his jet skis to my truck and we drove down there, and we get down. And Tim did all the driving, thanks, which made it a lot easier for me. I mean, I was willing to drive, but since he had his jet skis on the back, he felt more comfortable driving since he was towing his equipment, which was cool with me. I was like, hey man, cool. So it helped out. Thanks, Tim. But anyway, so yeah, didn't buy a plane ticket. We drove down. Wasn't bad. Gas was a little bit. So I drive my truck. It's not really a truck. It's a hybrid, or cross between a truck and a SUV. So didn't get great gas mileage. that's not an important detail, but that's just something that popped in my head that I was thinking about. But anyway, so we get down there, pretty easy drive. Uh, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about because I was thinking about the cost of a ticket. I think plane ticket would have been it would have been cheaper, but so this way, didn't have to go, go to the airport, wait in lines, go through whatever their protocols are, and sit in the steel tube with a bunch of people. And then we just bullshat for the ride down. And his lake house is like 2 hours from here, so pretty much I drove down. I think Thursday afternoon. Stayed overnight. We left Friday morning. Got there Friday evening time. Oh yeah, and then we got the Airbnb, which yeah, like I don't know if I can help it. I don't know if I'll stay at a hotel ever again, just because it's was probably cheaper. I'm guessing it was probably cheaper than a hotel, or if not, let's say it was even more expensive than a hotel, staying at a hotel. But what we got, so we got, we basically got a townhouse to ourselves for the whole weekend, and it had rooms, so it's like had 2 bedrooms, and then the couch in the living. My little brother stayed in the couch, but anyway, so we basically had our own little house. We were able to park, leave the what do you call it, jet skis there, and then drive the truck around for whatever errands while we're there. And then we took a Lyft to get, or Uber, rideshare to get to the event. Cause I was thinking, I was like, maybe I'll drink. Tim was drinking for sure. My little brother, he doesn't drink, but we were like, oh fuck it, we'll just take a Uber or Lyft. That way, if I do end up drinking, then then we're not like fucking stranded or whatever. So like that way, options are open. So we're not limited. We're like, oh fuck it. So we'll just take the Lyft. That way, our options are open. We're not like tied down. Like we don't have to figure out where to park, getting out of there after the event, or if we're like, oh shit, if we all end up drinking, you know what I mean? That kind of, it's just to get that whole fucking headache out of the way. That was our plan. So we get down there, we go to the event, we pull up to, so it was at ViStar Memorial, or Veteran Memorial, ViStar Veterans Memorial Stadium, I think, something like that. But either way, Jacksonville, Florida. So we get there, we get dropped off like right in the front. We walk up. Oh, and so the thing that they were doing for part of their COVID protocols was you fill out so it's basically it's through this app called Clear, and it's basically just a digital thing that you answer your code like, oh, I haven't had these, it's like yes or no, have you had these symptoms or been in contact with all that, regular, all the questions. So that's all it is you just fill out a questionnaire. And as long as you say no to everything, it pops up green and it has like your picture and your ID. So it's like mostly it's not not a preventative protocol. It's just more of like a it's a bureaucratic thing for the liability. So they can be like, oh, well, we not petitioned, but we surveyed everyone that came in. So everyone that came in said that they didn't have symptoms and they hadn't been in contact with someone that did. And also, so yeah, basically that. So it's just like a yes or no. It's just like a fucking reading test, basically. It's not like a medical thing. And they had the option. You can fill out the shit on your app. So when you get there, you can just walk up and show it to them. And or then they had the option if you wanted to do it like the paperwork thing. So when we got there, so I did the thing on the app, and then my brother and Tim, when we got there, like, oh, we'll just do the paperwork thing. So we get there, excuse me, ASMR, but we go, this thing's about to fall over. So yeah. Long story short, so that was the way people get in. So you could do it either way. We stood outside for a little bit, and it wasn't the line to get in wasn't bad. When we walk up, there is a line, and we see this long ass line, but it's people standing in line to take selfies in front of the the UFC 261, the big like block letters that they put out in front of the stadium. So it's this long ass line of people waiting to take a selfie in front of the letters that say hashtag UFC 261. So we walked past that. We didn't fuck with that. And we waited while my brother and Tim, they went ahead and did the fucking app thing. So then we went in, showed it to them. Then they get your tickets too. They scan you, do it all on fucking mobile. And I guess there were people selling tickets outside, out front. So that's an option. So then we get in, we go in, we find our seats. Oh, so when we go in, so it's pretty, man, it's a crazy feeling. So we get, and I'm all hyped up. Cause me, like when I watch the fights, I watch the fucking prelims all the way through, and I think the doors opened at 5:30. So originally I was planning, I was like, yeah, we'll catch the Uber like fucking 5, so we get there 5:30, and so we have time to get through line, any other things, and we can get in there and we'll be able to see all the fights. Brother and Tim are not as enthusiastic about watching all the fights. So I started watching it on my fucking phone while we're lifting. So I missed some of the prelims and early prelims. I missed the early prelims. I missed a couple of prelims. I went back and started watching. I have to go back and see when we actually got in there. But anyway, so when we get to the event, it's going on. I'm a little like, antsy because I'm like, oh fuck. But I'm gonna try not to be like a like a obsessive, overbearing dick about it, because yeah, for them it was like, it's like they watch, they're both, very, like the casual list of fans. Like they like watching the highlight reels, or if there's like a good fight that someone will show them, you know what I mean? But they're never gonna they're not gonna buy pay-per-view. They're not gonna sit down and watch, you know what I mean? They're not like following fighters. Like they might know about dudes or different fighters and talk about them, but so for them it's like, not as, it's more, I guess, of the experience of going than like tracking the fights or whatever. So we get in there and we're walking around. I'm all like, ooh, like I'm already like buzzing, and like it's like getting in was like pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And then we're walking around because they have the it loops around because it's a stadium, and they have the little entrances for the doors. There we go. So then, so yeah, we're walking around the thing, and it's like, so this is, fuck, it was crazy, man. So I'm mad at myself. Because I just felt like such a, I don't know, like a little child. I don't know, like an internet, like thirsty little internet kid or something. Walking around, like, felt like that's how I felt taking out my like phone and videotape. But I wish I did. Because when we were walking around, first we went the wrong direction to get to our section. So we turned around and we're walking back, and as we're walking, and because I'm so like, I'm antsy about it. Like each time we're walking down the corridor and we turn, there's the little entrances, the little hallways that go down into the actual arena. And as we walked past each one, like you get the like not puff, like the burst of air, and like energy and the sound, because you can hear the crowd, you can hear the announcers, and you can hear the fucking fight. It's crazy. So it's like each time it's like walk, but it's almost like, I guess it's not like the Doppler effect, but it's similar. It's kind of like that. So it's like you're walking by, and then it's like you're like, as you walk past, and you're like, you hear like the roar of the crowd, and you see the lights, and like, you hear the music, and it's like, shh, and then as you walk past that entrance, and it goes, and it kind of quiets off, and you can still hear it. And then you approach the next one, it's like, and it's like something's going on. Your people are like, yeah, and they're like looking through the things that were going by, and I'm just like, all right, we're getting closer. And so we're walking around to get to the entrance to where our section is for our seats. And as I walk through, it reminds me of the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe. the scene. So it could be uh two. There's two. So it's like when they're at the Colosseum in Rome, and they have like the over I don't know what you call it, just like the drone shot. So it wasn't drone shots, but it's like a drone shot coming over the top, and as it comes closer, you hear the crowd just like, and then people are like, ching ching ching. You hear all the fucking um, metal clanging together. Not the Asian fighters. Just in case people are confused when I said ching ching ching. I'm making a joke. I'll get back to that too, because there was a lot of fucking like Asian hate about, because I'll get to that. But anyway, so you hear the ching ching ching, and so there's like that scene from Gladiator, and then also when he first gets rescued by the fucking dude, fuck, I can't remember who runs the Ludus or whatever their gladiator school, and so it's like. It's like it's the scene right before, I think, when he's like, "Are you not entertained?" It's right before that, but it's like this kind of like rising shot where it's like kind of that similar thing where you're like looking down the tunnel, and then you can hear the crowd like echoing outside, and it's getting like, I remember when I first saw that movie, I was so pumped up. I think everybody was. It was just fucking great story, great action, great acting, incredible cinematography. One of the greatest movies for sure ever, Gladiator. If you haven't seen it, you're fucking out of your mind. Go check it out. But anyway, so like those two kinds of scenes. So that's the feeling I had as I'm walking. Like I'm imagining myself in my own movie, walking fucking slow motion through the corridor, to where it opens. So we walk down a little hallway, and then you can see the screens that they have right above the ring, and as you walk in, and then you look down, and then you can see all the people, and then you can see like right there the actual ring, the announcers sitting around like the floor seats like real close. So we walk in, it's just like, so it's crazy. It's like, so you're walking down the thing, and it's just like periodics like, and then it gets quiet, and it's like, and then as you walk past it, and then get down the hallway, and it's like all the air, it's like there's different air, and then like different energies, just like someone's like standing, like like sticking your head out of a car window, like those dogs now. That's what it felt like. I'm walking in, I'm just like, it's all like trying to take it all in, just like trying to be present, but also like fucking just being blown away by all the sensations, all the senses. I have like a fifth sense. I can't remember, that was something. I can't remember. I just saw some clip or some show where a chick was saying that. But anyways, so yeah, so it's fucking just so much energy. And so we still got there during the prelims. I'm trying to remember which was the exact fight when we sat down, because there were some fights that were going on when we first got there, and I'm looking through the little corridors as we're walking around the whole circuit to get to our seats. So there's a couple, because there were a couple fights where as we're coming in or we're trying to walk around and find our seats, I saw them in glimpses. But then we actually got into our seats. I'll put up a picture. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I can probably put up still pictures, but now I got this all set up. I'm not fucking. I'll edit it and post. That sounds fancy, but yeah, I'll add it in there. I'll probably throw the videos in there too. Damn. But yeah. So then we get in our seats, and so we're in our seats. We're so yeah. I'll have to put the picture up, because it's hard to, I guess, just describe where we were. But so our seats, let's see, it was like section 120, I think. Section 120. So I think like row K. And yeah, I'm trying to think like how many rows back. Oh, I guess it starts with A. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So we're like 11, I guess 11 rows back from. So it's like us. You go 11, because we're like first. I don't know what the seats are. Risers, is that what they're called? So then you go 11 rows down, and then there's like a little, just like couple steps, and then you're at the floor seats. Um, and originally when I first was looking at it, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just get floor seats." And then I was talking to my brother, and I was like, "All right," because I paid for a ticket. I mean, I invited him, so I'd be like, "Hey, you want to go to this thing? All right, pay for the ticket." Um, so yeah, I didn't get floor seats. Maybe one day, but this is the thing I learned from actually like being at the event. Like, so basically, because the floor seats, I think they were all over $1,000. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they were all at least $1,000. I think they're like average. I think there's like 1,200. They're like 1,200. There's some of them like they went higher than that because it's like the floor seats, and then it bumps to the little section where the fighters sit. Like Justin Gaethje was there. Nick Diaz showed up, or he sat on another side. But the part that was like right in front of me, like fucking yeah, Justin Gaethje was there. Fuck, who else was sitting down there? I don't know. There's a bunch. So and then there's like celebrities in there too. And so where we were at, we're like right next to the little walkway where they come out of the tunnel, where the fighters they come out and they go in. So there's two sides. Like we were on the left one, I think was the champ walk, and I don't remember what the difference is because sometimes fighters came in on one side, and I don't remember the breakout. But anyways, I think most of them when they were done, that's where they went out when they left after the fight. Oh yeah, that's the thing I was saying about the floor seats. So it's like the floor seats. Yeah, you're sitting right there, and they're on the floor in front of the cage. And I'm from because where I was sitting, we had a downward angle, so it was kind of like. So I guess the like risers, the very first row is probably like the best seats because you're up higher than the floor seats, but you're right there. It's the same distance, and you have a good angle. I mean, you can look up at the screen because you can see both, which is it's crazy. Watching the fight live because you can see. So it's like it's like it's right there. It's happening right in front of you, and then there's the screen above. So it's like if whatever angle you're at, if the fighter's like, they move to a part of the cage where it's kind of blocked or the ref gets in the way or something, you can look up and look at the screen. So it's crazy. It's impossible. I don't know how to describe it properly or give it proper justice for like seeing the actual athletes, the fucking real people that are doing the fight. Because, when you watch it on TV, they're cut to commercial or there's cuts in between shots or switching camera angles. But when you're sitting there live, it's like it's happening right there in front of you. So it's like I mean, maybe that's just kind of like the symptom of like being on lockdown and like not interacting with people for like a year and then not being around crowds for like an entire year. And then so everything is like digital and virtual, even like, like working remote and like doing Zoom meetings, and then being there and then seeing the actual athletes, what I mean? Like right there, like they were, I don't know if it's like this at every event, but they were just taking pictures. They were happy to take pictures as they're walking through. Like it was crazy because they were just like right there. Oh, so like me also talking about saying how I felt. I don't know. I felt weird, like kind of embarrassed, like a little, internet kid, like trying to get selfies, taking pictures and shit. So oh yeah. So I was trying to like hold my phone up to record, like, cause like when there was like big fights or something, I wanted to like kind of get like a shot of the cage and the fighters, like when they're walking in and out, because it's kind of like, because other than that, it's because then I don't know, because it's like I don't know, it's weird because I feel like it's kind of like there's just a difference between seeing a like if I'm watching UFC on TV and like a screenshot from it there, or like whenever they post pictures or whatever on their Instagram, there's like. So it's like seeing it there, but then I don't know. For me, it's like, oh, if I can get a picture, like, oh, I took this picture. I was really there, and I took the pic. Like this, I know that this is like from specifically from my experience. So I was like, fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna try and get some pictures, but I don't know. I guess I do have an old camera, or an old phone. So did take a couple videos. Like I got to react the video like when Weidman's leg broke. Oh, I got video of everyone around us because everyone was freaking. That's what I wanted to play here, but I'm gonna have to cut it in. I'll talk about it in a second, but I'll just fucking cut it in because it still doesn't do it justice, but it's crazy. So what I was saying is blah 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 blah. So I'm holding up my phone to record one of the fights or take a picture of a fighter or something, and I'm holding it up and I'm like, fuck, it's like it still looks for some reason my camera, it looks from what my naked eye is looking at, what I'm seeing, holding up my phone is like way farther looking at my phone. It's like, gosh damn it, it's like it's like they're right there, but then when I hold up my phone, it just the picture, like it's, I don't know, the resolution isn't great. And I'm like looking at other people, everyone else is holding up, and I'm looking at their screens. It's like crystal clear. It's like right there. It's like even the picture, it looks like they're even closer than they are. So I was like, gosh damn, my fucking camera sucks. So I only took like 3 or 4 videos because I was embarrassed. I was like, oh, people are gonna see I can see their screen, see how fucking clear their resolution is. They're probably looking at me. They're like, oh, look at this little fucking not 1080p bitch. I don't know, it probably is, but I don't know. I guess it's weird. I was embarrassed. I was like, I felt like lower status. Like I wasn't allowed to take pictures because my camera, because I'm a peasant. But anyways, so part of me saying that is that the floor seats. This is a thing that I realized built into the price. It's like not. It is partially. It's like, yeah, you're closer. You're right there. I mean, they weren't that much closer, but that you know they were closer and they're on the floor. But what they did have is because you have in order to get down to the floor seats, you have to have a floor seat ticket. So what that basically gives them a little blocked off area where they're the only ones that are like ground level with the fighters when they're walking out. Like if your seat's close enough, like I could have gone one aisle over because we were right next to the tunnel where they come in and out, and you can, like, you know what I mean, like lean down and fucking still shake their hand and get a picture, like, or even if you go close right to the thing, you're almost like ground level with them. But that's so the floor seats. Note to if you ever go, I guess that's the part of the what's into the price of it, because you're basically right there and you have like exclusive access to like getting to take a, you know what I mean, you're right there with, you can take a picture of the fighters or whatever. Ooh, excuse me. What was yeah. So we got up there. We got into our seats. And for the most, there's other things. So Florida is like, they're pretty open already. Like I wore my mask all the time, washed my hands, all that shit. And we were like, so me and my brother were like the only people wearing our masks. So in our row, we're the guy like right next to me. He put his on when I sat down. So, but everybody else was pretty much had them off. There's like a guy right in front of us was talking the entire time. Oh, and this is other part of the reason why I was like, nah, I'm not gonna drink, because I knew that if I drank, then I'm gonna get like not more excited, but I'm more social, and I really didn't want to. And I knew that I would talk to any, because I would just get so excited, and I didn't want to end up being that drunk dude that's like, you know, the class, you know, all the kind of like, well, you know, if Connor, you know, he's usually in his karate stance, but he's been focusing on boxing so much, you know, you can tell he has that real like, you know, classic boxer stance, and that's what, you know what I mean, that whole thing that fucking people are always doing. Actually, there's 2 kids who were standing outside line doing it. Good for them. They're excited. They're fans. But it was like these 2, like, young-looking kids. So everybody looks young to me these days. But there are these 2 young-looking kids that, you know, they I'm trying to without sounding mean, but it's like, you know, they didn't look like anyone that's ever been hit in the face. Um, and they're like, cause I'm looking at the kid and it's like distinct. It's like he's doing fucking Connor's karate stance, and he's like, you can see him like getting the stance, and he's like bouncing. He's talking to his friend, and then they get closer, and they're like, yeah, you can tell. It's like you can almost imagine the entire conversation. So I was trying not to be those guys. So I was like, if I get drunk, I'll just be like, yeah, well, and I have all my ideas and theories and all that shit. So I was like, all right, I don't. And then also, I know there's a chance like, because if I'm getting drunk and someone's like talking shit, then I don't know. I'm older now, so maybe I was like, yeah, whatever. But either way, mix it. I knew there's gonna be a bunch of people, opinionated people that were drinking also, so I figured it'd just make it easier. I will be easier to deal with if I'm sober, so it'll make it easier all around. I think. Well, that was my thinking going into it. So, anyways, yeah. So the guy sitting in front of us is that guy. He's just like hammered, and he's like, I mean, he's super excited. He's like talking to like, he's like, so he's like super excited, and he wants to be everybody's friend. Is that what it is? Or he wants to be involved in everybody's experience. I think that's more what it is. So he wants to be involved in everyone's experience, and he's like, just like, just drunk close talking and fucking like just saying random loud shit, and like the dude that was sitting next to me that had his mask up, or he had like a neck gaiter thing, but he's like, hey man, I'm fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear that thing, and blah blah blah. Oh no, there's another thing. A bunch of people I heard they're like, Corona's not real, why are you wearing that mask? Or so they're like, you're not from Florida, are you? Why are you? Like, I can't talk to you. You're wearing a mask. I can't understand you. I can't talk to you. And I was like, fine, yeah, that's cool, man. You just came over here and started talking to me anyways. Like, when we were leaving, there's this kid. He's like, yo, yeah, I just won 5Gs, man. He's like, I can't find my crew, so y'all are gonna be my crew till I can find them, or I get to the parking lot or something like that. I was like, cool, man. And then he's like talking to me and Tim, and I don't know, he's just talking about first started talking about like how he won 5Gs on a bet, and then somehow it got to like, I don't know, I'm gonna blame Tim for this, but somehow it got to like Tim was like soliciting me to murder him, this kid or something, because the kid was like, he started giving a shit about because we were wearing masks. And he was just he's not threatening at all. He's just drunk and being stupid, or just being sociable or talking. He's drunk. He wasn't doing anything like aggressive, I didn't think. Except just kept trying to talk to us or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I can't remember how I even got to it, but at some point it was just like, yeah, well, he'll fucking murder you or something. I can't remember the exact words, but so it's also a good thing I was sober, because now like I at least have that baseline of, I know whatever I did or said was like, I don't know, with some sort of what do you call it, like sense. Because anyone that knows me from before, when I was just getting hammered all the time, and basically like anyone that knew me like 10 years ago, like they would have been like, oh, they're like, wow, I'm surprised this isn't a story where you were just beating up some kid out of nowhere, or getting beat up by a bunch of people for no reason. But anyways, that was just, it's an interesting difference between being in areas with a lot of it's so obnoxious how it's like it's turned into like such a political thing. It's weird to me that, because it's like people are like, oh, you wear a mask, you must be liberal or Democrat. It's like wearing a mask is like signaling that you're this political inclination, and not wearing one is like signaling that you aren't that one, you're another political inclination, and it's like, it's so crazy to me that, because it's kind of like, You know what I mean? Like if there was like this huge divide in the nation about people that want to wear seatbelts and people that don't. People are like, no, it's if I want to, take the chance of flying through my windshield, that's me. It's my choice. It's government oppression to like require me to give me a ticket if I don't wear my seatbelt, and et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm not saying either direction, which one if either one is right or not. I'm just saying that it's interesting or funny or weird to me that it's like it's almost like violently polarizing for people, just like a sort of like a safety device type of thing. So it's like, oh, everyone in this political party wears this piece of clothing. If you're in this political party, then you're not wearing that. You know what I mean? It's such a weird thing to me. But I think it's part of, like, as humans, just the way our minds work. It's kind of that cognitive misery. Fuck, what was the name of that TED Talk? I need to fucking watch it and like do like a talk, like give it justice and explaining it. But anyways, to me, maybe that's what it is. It's just because it's easier for us to simplify or conflate things together that touch us emotionally. That way, it's easier to be like, that's wrong. You're like, I don't like it, so that's wrong, kind of thing. It makes it easier, because if we have to sit down and talk it out and work through every time and explain, our communication methods, our learning methods or whatever, every single time we interact with someone, it just takes too long. So it's easier just to shortcut all that and be like, nah, I'm just gonna go based on what my emotions are. So I don't know, maybe that's part of it, but either way, yeah. So that was going back to, so we were sitting in our seats watching the fights. Oh yeah, and going back to like all the so there's another thing that's fucking obnoxious. Like people chanting USA, USA, and for sure I've been in moods when I've done that like a while back. But I think I feel like we should be past, because like when I was a kid, like Olympics or any like international event. Usually, I think the Olympics was a big one, but people are chanting, USA. There's a lot of like, the patriotic pride. Patriotic pride, is that redundant? It's like a lot of kind of like patriotic expressions, and so like Desert Shield, Desert Storm time. When the Bushes were in there, like all that, like everyone's like USA, USA, and it was like, it's like motivating, charge you up. But in this instance, because now it's kind of like, because there was that whole I guess scandal with Rose, Thug Rose Namajunas, she's Lithuanian, right? But so with her saying better dead than red, because I guess her family, they came from Lithuania, they escaped old Soviet Russia, so like, that Soviet socialism. I guess one of her uncles was like a lieutenant in the military or something, Lithuanian army, and he was killed by the Soviets or so. So and then I guess there was some like documentary growing up that she saw. There was like better dead than red, which is I think was a huge thing like during the Cold War too. Like especially like people, it was a thing people used to say all the time. But it's 2021 now, so kind of saying that, and this has been talked to death. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to say, I think, in the context of nowadays, because it's kind of like saying Zhang Weili is like a it's kind of like saying like that she's the face of Chinese communism, which like it's like implying that she's like has all the other implications that we as Americans and or capitalists or whatever democratic society, we put all these negative implications we put on being communist, and like to oppression and censorship and slavery and violating human rights, etc., etc. So it's kind of like by saying that in this context, saying, oh, my motivation for this fight is that it's better to be dead than be red, and my opponent is from China, so she's a red commie who is representing oppression, censorship, all these things that us as Americans say that we're against. So that's how it came across. Rose came out later multiple times after the fight too. I was saying, hey, no, I didn't mean it that way. It was just a thing that I looked back from like my personal family history. It's like I don't hate anyone from any country. She's like, I love all people. So she came on like she wasn't trying to make it a political or a racial thing. It just came out across. It came across that way, which I mean, hey, it's good. I'm glad that. I mean, everyone just got all like people got butthurt about it or like this is stupid, which the implications, yeah, dumb, the implication. But no, I thought it was cool that she came out or Rose came out after. I was like, no, it's not about that. But anyway, so they're at the actual event. So a lot of the fights. So it was almost like people would describe it as a competition between the UFC Performance Institute in I believe it's in Vegas, and the UFC. So basically the stateside one, and then I think a Beijing one. So there's a Chinese UFC Performance Institute, and then there's the American UFC Performance Institute. So like all the Chinese fighters on the card, I believe had come. They were like the best to come out of the Beijing or whichever, the China Performance Institute. So it's like whenever like a lot of time when Chinese fighters would come out, people would start booing or going USA, USA. Or even there was like a Canadian and forgot his name was like Connolly. I think it's Connolly or Connell. He's a Canadian fighter, and then Sabatini is an American fighter. Pat Sabatini, Pat Connolly. I don't know. Either way, even then that one was like USA. Get people like USA. So I was like, what the fuck? Because it's not. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's annoying now to me nowadays. Like back in the day, like I said before, like at the Olympics, because then it's kind of like country against country in a way. I mean, literally, but so it's like national pride. It's like, yeah, my country's competing against like the best athletes in our country are competing against the best athletes in their country. Because when you get a gold medal, you bring it back home to your country. And I guess even with like the UFC with the belt, like you win the belt, you take it back home wherever you're from. But it's not the same thing. It's not like there's not. Oh, I guess I did just get describing like the people how they're saying like the Chinese Performance Institute and the American one, but it's not a competition against countries. Because like the UFC, all the fighters, they're all competitors and colleagues together at the same time. So they're all competing against each other, but they're all promoting each other by competing against each other in the same organization. So it's kind of, maybe this is a far off thought process, but I'm gonna say it. We'll see where it is when I get to the end of it. It's kind of like a thing. It reminds me of like when people that are in relationships, like when I've had friends, or I do have friends that they're like married, or like have in a relationship, they got a boyfriend or girlfriend, but then they're like talk shit about their partner or significant other. To me, it's kind of like when you're in a partnership, anything you do to discredit or undermine your partner is discrediting and undermining yourself. Maybe I should. How do I use I statements with that? I feel that if I am undermining or backstabbing, you know what I mean? Like going to the, what is it called? Public forum or whatever, court of public opinion about my partner and being like, oh, well, they do this all the time and I hate that. And like all that shit, like out in public, like it's okay to have qualms or grief. You handle that, in-house together. But once you make it public, it's like you're drawing that line. So it's like you're saying that I'm building my team, but what you're just digging the dirt out from the foundation from underneath yourself. So anything you do to hurt your partner is really just hurting yourself. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, is how I'm seeing it this instance, because like they're booing fighters just because they're from another country. So it's like, all right, so we just have only have fighters from our country, you know what I mean, competing against each other. And it's not going to be as good. You're not going to end up. It's going to end up, becoming stagnant. And it's like, and because one of these guys, one of the kids, I wish I remember his name. Did I write it down? He's a young guy. He's like the breakout star from the Beijing, the Performance Institute in China. But and this kid, he was, he's 21, so he's the youngest fighter in the UFC. So I think he's now the youngest fighter in the UFC. So he's a young literally the youngest kid there. And he's coming out, and you can see he's smiling, and he's like waving. So this is probably his first like live crowd ever. Huge pay-per-view event. Huge event. And maybe this is his first time in America too. And his first experience when he comes out, and he's like, they've been talking about what a great athlete is. He's the top guy, I think, coming out of China Performance Institute, or the Performance Institute in China. And like he comes out, and he like, you can see he's like happy. He's like glad to see the crowd, and he's there to perform for everyone. People are like fucking booing this kid. I was like, what the fuck? It's like I don't know. It's like just a dick move. It's I can't think of a good analogy of it, but it's like, so he's basically come out, and the people that are supposed to be, and I guarantee no one's heard of this kid, so it's not like anyone is like, oh, I hate the way he did this, or this is the first time probably anybody at the event has ever heard of it. Most of 90% of the people at the event have ever heard of this kid, but they're just booing him straight out of the gate. And then he gets in there. He eventually wins the crowd over, though, because he's like, you can tell he's having fun, and he's like smiling. He's trying to show off a little bit. So I can only imagine, like, he ends up losing. I believe he lost the decision. But I need to go back and look up his name, because he's if I didn't write it down here, I wrote it down somewhere. But he's definitely someone that I think he's gonna do well. Because he performed. He went to decision, but he might have been undefeated too. But he looked good despite the fucking people being like, just yelling, boo, because they're like, blah, 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 from China, like, boo, boo, USA, USA. And then, so yeah, that shit was obnoxious. Like, people booing in general, it's fucking obnoxious. And, because, I also don't get it. Like, maybe for certain fighters, like ones that have kind of like built that like heel, like Colby Covington. Of course, people like hate him. When Kamaru Usman came out, people booed him. So I mean, I get it, but that's so in those instances, people are booing that fighter or that personality. They're not booing the person's nationality. You know what I mean? And for me, that's the difference. I'm not a fan of fucking booing anyways, because it's like, hey, these people are coming out, they're here to perform, they're athletes, that's the performance that we should be evaluating. But I get it, like, people, like, there's certain fighters that people have a personal qualms with, and they're booing them. All right, I get it. But someone you've never heard of, you've never seen before, and they come out, and just because they're from another country, you boo them. That, to me, that's fucking obnoxious. So then, fast forward. So that kid, I'll have to look up his name. I'm looking forward to him. I think he looks like he'll do well, especially he did all right, did okay under those circumstances where he was getting like zero love. And it's crazy. You could see the effect of the crowd, because he came in there and he was smiling, and he tried to smile through, and he doesn't speak English, so he doesn't know, but everyone knows what boo is. And so he's getting into the fight. As the fight's going on, I think like somewhere in the first or second round, then he does something. He's like, because he's like trying to like pump up the crowd, and people are like, oh shit, maybe this guy is cool. Maybe what were we booing for? Just because he's from China? And then people start cheering. So I think in the end, and then his performance, he was like, you could tell once he got he got that reaction from the positive reaction from the crowd. He kind of loosened up a little bit. So I'm looking forward to seeing this kid fight more. So yeah, the people booing, especially like everyone being like just because of China. All right, I'll go back to the China thing in a second, but no, I'll finish the China thing real quick. Then I'll go to the other thing. But about booing, fucking Jake Paul, or that person, fucking Voldemort. So So that when it gets to the one of the co-main events, Zhang Wei Li versus Rose Namajunas. So they. Damn, I'm already at an hour. Fuck. All right, let me hurry up. So. So what is? Oh yeah. So, excuse me. So I clap every fighter that came out, even ones I didn't know, even ones if I don't like them, I still clap. I didn't clap as loud for some as others, but I still clapped. And I also am a fan of Wei Li. I mean, I like Rose too. My thing about Rose, I don't know. There's something about Pat Barry. I'll talk about that. There's some energy about their relationship that it's weird. There's something weird about it to me. But anyways, I like Zhang Wei Li, and so I was cheering for her. So when she comes out, it was like me and a dude to my front and to the left. So the row in front of me and one seat to the left. We were both clapping. We were like the only people clapping when Zhang Wei Li came out. And it was like, boo, boo. So then I was clapping louder. I was just like, fuck that. Clapping. This guy behind me, they're like, oh, you're cheering for you're communist, or you're not American, and blah, 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 Chinese this, Chinese that. And the guy just kept fucking talking shit. So then he finally, I thought he tapped me on my shoulder, or he was saying something to me. Because I was fine. I was like, all right, if this guy, I was like, I'm not gonna engage with him, but if this dude like addresses me directly, I don't know, call him idiot or start speaking Chinese to him. I already would have been like, that would have been a weird thing. That's like looking at my face and then hear me start speaking Chinese to him. He'd be like, what the fuck? We got a spy right here. We got a spy. But So anyways, I thought he was talking to me, so I turned around to look at him. I was like, all right, well, here we go. So this is another reason. Glad I wasn't drinking. Because if I was, liquored up, I would have been engaging earlier. I would have been trolling with this dude. I would have probably just start speaking fucking Chinese, Korean, Tagalog to everyone, just whatever. I don't know. Who knows what I would have done? We'll never know, which is probably a good thing. Yeah, because I probably would have set myself up to get jumped and beat up afterwards. Which I don't know, could have been a good story. Embarrassing, seems to be good stories. But anyway, so the dude, I think he's like addressing me or something. So I turn around, turned to look at him, because I was like, all right, he wants my attention, I'm gonna give him my attention. But then when I turn around, I look at him, then he like looks past me and he's talking. Then I turn and look, and so then the other guy that was clapping, so then guy like talks past me to him, and it was like, hey man, are you a communist or something like that? And the other guys, he's like, hey, I'm a fan. I clap for all the fighters. And the other guys is like, this is America, MAGA, 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 MAGA. And and it's so funny to me. I mean, just because the area that I live in, it's very there's like almost no Trump Pence signs around here. Down there, they're everywhere. So like where I'm at, it's like everyone was like pretty not for Trump. And I'm not saying I'm either direction. I'm just saying that the area that I live in is mostly people that are like not for Trump. So it was so I've always heard, like people talking about like MAGA, this and that, but this was my first like I guess in the wild, like kind of like person that identifies as a MAGA supporter. You know what I mean? Like he's literally yelling out MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. And I think it's just funny to me because I have this idea, because like being around here, people talk about like Trump and MAGA, and everyone has some complaint about. And then I also like picture the dude or the men and women that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. So that's like when I think about like MAGA, that's what I'm picturing in my mind, like the most, I guess, kind of like extreme versions of that. So there's like to have this dude that's there. We're all there for the same thing. We're all there to see the fights, and he's not like. I think because around here, like the area I live in, people kind of they kind of make it where everything they say about Trump or MAGA, it's kind of like it's kind of like a euphemism for racism or misogyny. You know what I mean? Like being like anyone. It's basically like around here, people that like describe anyone that supports Trump or anyone that says "Make America Great Again" or MAGA or whatever. They like paint that all those people as like these kind of like violent extremists. So it's like in my head, there's like, and I know people that voted for Trump, and I know people that are, not casually MAGA. They're not like these extreme caricatures that people kind of like put out. Like I know like people are pretty normal, whatever normal is, that are Trump supporters. Actually, I think I only know like one or two, but either way, I think it's partially a result of just the area I'm in and whatever. But so like if I lived in Florida, I'd probably have most of the people I knew will probably be Trump supporters and fucking MAGA or whatever. But so I guess the point of me saying all this is like I'm laughing because in my mind, like up here, people kind of like perpetuate this idea of like MAGA is basically neo-Nazis. But then it's like this completely regular dude standing behind me, and it's not like him yelling MAGA. I don't feel threatened by it at all. It's like it's just like a dude expressing, you know what I mean? Like he's just like USA, you know what I mean? The same thing. He's just like a proud American expressing his love for our country. So that's how it came across to me. It didn't feel like violent or oppressive or anything like that. It was just like trying to think what would. Yeah, it's just like the energy that someone would have saying like, "Oh, that's complicated. I can't say it that way." But either way, it wasn't like, yeah, it was interesting because it wasn't, I don't know. But either way, so the dude's yelling, he's like, MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. And then he's like, because there's another dude. So in the same row, like the row in front of us, all the guys there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, like at least 5 dudes. They're all together. One of them was the one dude that was like, wanted to be a part of everyone's experience. And then this guy who's sitting up, he was clapping. The guy that was clapping with China, like when we were both clapping for the Chinese athletes. And then, so then one of that guy's buddies, I think it was actually the guy that was like talking to everyone, the one that was saying like wanted to be in everyone's experience, and then telling us, hey, you don't need masks, I'm fully vaccinated. And I'm like, good for you, man. I mean, that's you. But so I think it was that guy that was talking, and then the one behind me says, he's like, hey, man. He's like, hey, we got to stick together. He's like, if someone, if someone jumps me, you got to be my side, all right? And he's like, MAGA, 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 MAGA. And the guy was like, he's like, yeah. And then he's like, hey, all of y'all are with me, right? And the other guys in the row, they're just like, yeah, no, we're not with you, man. I'm sure they had the feel of Trump inclined people, but and by that I just mean because like one of the dudes wearing like what is it? It's not like, I can't remember what brand that is, but it's one of those brands like 1776 or whatever, and different stuff that's like, it can, you know what I mean? It's not specific, like, you know, like a Hawaiian shirt isn't specifically mean that someone's a Proud Boy, but apparently the Proud Boys wear that shit. You know, it's like that kind of thing. Because I think I have some of those that's like, maybe, is that the name of the brand? Oh, no, I think the brand is actually like Holsters USA or so, either way. But something that like it was kind of like that kind of like civilian military kind of feel or whatever. But either way, it was funny. Oh yeah, but yeah, so it was obnoxious about the whole people booing and then like USA. There was one part, because there was one at one point, because people are like chanting USA, USA, but then like another wave came up where people are going UFC, UFC instead of USA. And for that one, I'm like, yeah, there you go. There we are. Everybody is here is for these fights. All the fighters are paid by the UFC. It's not a nation against nation thing. So I think I like that. I wish there was a way for that. Like when people start chanting USA, you're like, no, let's chant UFC, UFC, because that's what we're all here for. So put on fucking great shows, great MMA shows. But oh yeah, so that's that part about that. And then yeah, also then the whole Jake Paul thing, fucking idiots. Like I get when DC went over and was talking to him, and then everyone, because people were like, oh fuck, Jake Paul's right over there. Then people started yelling, fuck Jake Paul. All right, cool, yeah, I get it. But during the fights, then it kept happening. Like anytime Jake Paul would stand up, people start chanting, fuck Jake Paul, fuck Jake. But I'm like, they're doing it in the middle of the fucking Valentina Shevchenko fight. Like, what the fuck? This is one of the greatest fucking fighters on the planet. Right here in front of you. And you are taking the time to give attention to this other motherfucker that is a fucking amateur fighter. Or he's pro, but you know what I mean? And I talked about it before. All right, he's got me. I'm interested in his journey now. So I'm not going to hate on him for that at all. He's doing it well. As long as he keeps winning, good for him. He's doing it well. He's doing it better than any of the rest of us. So, but it's like people are just giving him that energy to, in the middle of watching one of the greatest fucking athletes ever, they're chanting about this fucking beginner. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. But anyways, that's all I want to say about that. Oh yeah. 2 more things, and I'm gonna fucking cut it off. Oh yeah. And I think I don't know if I said it after the Gilbert Burns fight, because before I wasn't I had a bias against Kamaru Usman, because I think at first I didn't like him. Then I watched his first episode he did with, as a fan, I'm saying, obviously I don't know him, I've never been around him, never competed, you know what I mean? This is just fucking some dude watching shit on the internet opinion. So at first I didn't like him. Wasn't sure why. Then I watched his first interview thing he did with Joe Rogan, and then I was like, all right, I do like this guy. And then after his second one though, I was back to I don't know, there's something about this guy I don't like. And I think part of it had to do with, and this is the thing, I think my whole life I've been biased against wrestlers, because I remember I used to not get in not play fights, not real fights, but I don't know, not everyone has this experience, especially nowadays, but sometimes you just fucking fight after school, or you're fucking, when kids played outside, you'd be outside a day. Sometimes we just fight just for whatever. And you don't I gotta fight, now I gotta go home and cry. It's like you don't go home and tell your mom, because then if you go home and complain, then either mom's not gonna let you play, or they're gonna come out and throw a fit. They're gonna go talk to the other moms. Your dad's gonna be like, "Why are you being a little bitch? Why didn't you just fight this kid?" You know what I mean? So it turns into a whole thing. So it's like fighting was just normal. It wasn't like they got in a fight, now shit's all over. You know what I mean? It's like we just did it. So my frustration with kids that fucking wrestled, they're all about, they're good. They felt as long as like their shoulders didn't touch the ground, or if they pinned you, then that they're like, oh well, I win, I beat your ass. And I'm like, no, we were just wrestling. Like, cause then some of the fights, then you start fucking, like, you know what, fuck this. I'm not just wrestling. I'm not gonna just wrestle you. This is bullshit. Cause like obviously they have the advantage, and they're just literally mopping the fucking ground with my body. So I'm like, all right, well, how about I just start throwing punches and scratching and biting and shit like that. Whatever I had to do. So I think I always had a bias against wrestlers because they always had like this idea that like if they pinned you, or as long as their back didn't touch the ground, then it's like, oh, I won. Or like, that's not fighting, that's not winning. So I think I've always like kind of gone into like with a bias, like watching dudes wrestle fuck people again. It's like, oh, that's bullshit. That was my thought before. So that was kind of like the feeling I had, I think, about Usman, was because he's so wrestle heavy. I mean, obviously, he's like Olympic. Yeah, he was at. Did he? I think, yeah, he at least trained. He was trying to get into the Olympics at one point, I'm pretty sure. So, anyways, he. Yeah. Oh, that's what it was, too. So in one of the interviews that he did, so I just got this feeling of like he was saying words as if he were a like a murderer, like a real life, like kills people in real life. And so he's coming across like presenting this image of like being like a literal, like a literal killer, like a murderer, but he's. And then, there is that. So there's a fine line, especially in professional fighting, because it's like, some people are like, oh, that's a fighter, or some are like, oh, they're an incredible athlete, but it's like they're not. Yeah, it's like they're. Yeah, how do I describe it? So it's kind of like that. It's like they're an incredible athlete, but they're not a murderer. They're not actually out dealing with other people that murder people, and they're not. You know what I mean? So they're not literal killers. But because of their athletic performance, they're able to kind of like present themselves as if they are. Because within, their very specific rule sets, they are the top. And so all this, I guess it sounds like shit, I'm talking shit. All this stuff that I'm saying, I'm not saying to take away from any of the accomplishments. So, yeah, long story short, let me get to where I'm trying to go. Is I'm like Kamaru. Can't deny this motherfucker. Cannot. Regardless of, like, I don't believe. Like, I feel like he has it in him to be a killer, but that's he's capable of it. But that's not like in his personality. But he is such an incredible athlete. And going over to Trevor Whitman, he's been, such an incredible athlete, such a hard worker that he's been able, that he's at the fucking top, the tippy top of a profession that is full of athletes and killers. So regardless of whatever, he is fucking top of the top there. So yeah, any I don't know, negative shit or whatever before, like you can't deny his performance and his accomplishments. Like, he surpassed that, because regardless of whatever bias I had previously, it's like you just can't deny it. Look at what he's doing. People, I complained before. I was like, oh, I just wrestle fucking dudes. I was just knocked out fucking George Masvidal. Yeah, like, Like I'm not a fan because so this one I'm not a fan of. Like sometimes I feel like there's pageantry with it's entertainment. When at the end of the day, it's all entertainment, or mostly entertainment, or a lot of entertainment. So like when he gets into those little like hyped up like I don't know. I just imagine somebody like got bullied a lot and was like hyping themselves up in the mirror kind of thing. So maybe that's part of it too. Is like I I, I think he's just on the cusp of beginning to believe in himself as well, in a way, if that makes sense. And it's yeah, so maybe it's just kind of a mental thing. And oof, man, if he ever does crossover in that click where it's like when it's when it's when that you know that uh, that knowledge that you can kill and that athletic ability when those equal out. Oh, but I mean right now like no one can touch him as is. Anyways, it's like fuck. It's like gosh damn. Yeah, man. He's a dominant champion. Can't deny it. Can't deny him. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say because I know I talked shit before. But it's like can't there's like in his actual performance can't like I don't know maybe the way he presents himself like but who cares when he's fucking getting shit done. So then yeah the only other thing so the other thing about it is uh oh yeah so we watched all the fights. Oh fuck yeah, there's other thing I wanted to play. I'll intercut them in of everyone going wild after Weidman fucking his leg snapped. Fucking it was insane. Like you could hear it. That it's fucking so. Ugh. But anyways, to close this all up, yeah. So we watch all the fights. Then when we're leaving, so this is the thing. So I don't know if it's because. All right, how do I fucking just skip forward? Uh, so we took a Uber or Lyft to get there. And we're like, all right, we'll do the same when we get out. And when we walked out, we're like, all right, we're gonna walk away from the crowd because everyone's gonna be getting picked up here. So we're gonna walk just like outside of the little pickup area and try to catch a Lyft or Uber. So we do that. Long story short, it ends up I think everything ended at like 1:30 between 1 and 1:30 a.m. the fights, and we didn't get back to our Airbnb until like 3:30. So we were outside waiting, trying to get a Lyft or Uber, excuse me, for like 2 hours. We're like literally, it was like 5 minute drive away, maybe 10 between, excuse me, 5 and 10 minutes. But because of where the stadium is located, like there's a bridge. It's like a bridge. I don't know if it's an island or not, but there's a bridge to get there, and you can't walk. There's no pedestrian access, so you can only go by vehicle to get across the bridge. So then think about it too. So it was at capacity, so there's 15,000 fans there, and then whatever employees. So let's say, even if we say everybody drove their own vehicles, so 15,000. Even if like a third of 15, 5, so 5,000. So say 5,000 people. Even cut that in half. Let's cut it all the way down to let's say 1,000 people come out of there and didn't drive and don't have a ride lined up. So there's 1,000 people standing outside waiting for Lyft or Uber, and there's like zero. Like we're looking at the things, one will pop up and then it's gone. Pop up and it's gone. So it's based. So there's probably, and so this is I don't know. I know Florida's been open or more open, but I don't feel like the feeling I got walking a couple blocks outside of the arena was that the area is not. I feel like what do you call it? Economically depressed, especially after the past year of everything being closed. So I don't imagine. Didn't seem like there's a lot of commerce going on there. So there's not a lot of commerce. There's not a lot of need for ride sharing. So it doesn't seem like there. So let's say there were. Let's even say there were. Well, there wasn't. There's probably like I think it would be over or over guessing or whatever, estimating to say that there were, let's say there's 20 Lyft and Uber drivers in the area around the stadium. So there's 20 people trying to service at least 1,000 customers. So they got to pick them up, drive them across the bridge, wherever they're going, then turn around and come back. So yeah. Long story short, getting the rideshare after turned into a nightmare. There's people. I need to go back and look and read the local newspaper, because I feel like there had to be people that got kidnapped. Because there's some people that were driving up. They're like, oh, y'all need a ride, and like, yeah, for whatever. If you have cash, we'll give you a ride wherever you're going. And I was like, nah, I'm not. For me, I'm like, that feels like that's volunteering to get kidnapped and or robbed. Just like some strangers like, hey, you got cash? I'll drive you wherever you need to go. Like, no thanks, pass. But there were people doing. There's this one fucking dude that's just like yelling. It's huge, this big husky boy, and he's yelling because he's like, oh, because there's like a little area where the cops have the road blocked off going into the event. So I guess they're just hanging out because they have to hang out until everybody leaves. And the dude's yelling at them because I guess he's like, yeah, I got assaulted, and the cops don't want to do anything about it. It's like, this is the worst city in the world. This place is bullshit. And he's just like yelling at the cops about, he's getting aggressive. The cops are just like, hey, man, it's like, yeah, I don't have a, he's like, I understand your frustration, but I do not have a solution for you. The guy's like, it's because this is the worst city ever. This place sucks. He's like, I will give anyone $500 right now. I think he might have started out saying $5,000. He's like, I'll give $5,000. And he's like, I'll give $500 cash right now. And then like, I can't remember. So there was a vehicle that pulled up and he got in with them. And I don't think the dudes he knew that got in, he was like, hey, I'll pay cash for their ride and I'll give you all the cash I have. And he's like, I have $308. So it was like he went from $5,000 to $500 to $308. But he's yelling this out like just in the middle of the fucking street. I have hundreds of dollars in cash on me right now. I'll go anywhere with anybody. Jeez, there had to have been some fucking kidnappings and robberies. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, so yeah, note to self: don't rely on rideshare after. And I think maybe it's probably, yeah, like I said, a combination of like a year of everything being closed, and then this is the first live event in over a year, so it's like there just wasn't the infrastructure for getting people out of there. Because, you know, I mean, everyone kind of shows up staggered in like between 5:30 and 7:30. But then when everyone leaves at the same time, it's like the same 20 drivers trying to take 1,000 different people to literally 1,000 different places. So plan that if you go. But oh yeah, I would fucking for sure. If you are an MMA fan, go to live events. It's fucking incredible. Like now, like I'm even looking for like local stuff. I want to start going to all kind. Like I just want. That's all. It's like fuck. Now I'm spoiled. Like now watching it on TV is like watching on TV. You get to you do experience. It's easier for watching the fights and keeping track of what's happening in the actual fight. But as far as like the experience of feeling it and feeling like it's real, I guess, like being there live is fucking. It can't be beat. As far as in my experience so far. So I guess as I do go to more, I'll know more and I'll let you know more. But fuck, yeah, it's worth it. Bow show. But anyways. That was UFC 261. USA. MAGA. Oh yeah, and then my little brother, he saw a shirt. It's like Trump DeSantis 2024. Make America Florida. But yeah. Anyways, I think that's it. Yep. That was it. Oh shit. Anyways, we'll see if this recording worked. I've had a couple record it and then the audio is fucked up or something. So, bitch. That's all I do. All right. Anyways, fuck you. Later.
What the